Hola amigos. You know, if you've been thinking about making the move to Puerto Vallarta or anywhere in Mexico, you most likely have spent many hours researching all aspects of life and living here. Maybe you've even thought about buying a condo or a home to either live in yourself as a vacation rental or even as an investment. Now, most real estate agents will no doubt tell you all about the great things that Puerto Vallarta, Mexico has to offer. And Puerto Vallarta in particular does have a lot of great things about it that you'll love. If you've watched any of my videos here on my Life in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico YouTube channel, you'll hear me say that the goal of the channel is to inform you about everything there is to know about life and living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Now, I believe that should include not only the positive aspects of living here, but also some of the negative ones too. Oh my gosh, I can hear real estate agents now saying, no, don't talk about the negative stuff. Well, sorry lads, it's gotta be done. So here goes. I'm going to tell you about the six things that I feel might have a negative effect for some people on the decision to move to Puerto Vallarta or anywhere in Mexico for that matter. Again, these might not be an issue for most of you, but they are worth mentioning. You might also want to check this video here, which is about the pros and cons of living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's here on my channel. I made it like a couple of months ago. Before I get into it, please stick around to the end of this video and I'll show you how to get a free digital copy of my buyer's guide to purchasing property in Mexico. Now, you know, that's if you're thinking about buying here. This is a really good guide to help guide you through it all. So let's get after it. If this is your first time on my channel and you want to know everything there is to know about life and living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, see, there I said it, and the market here, please give us a like on our videos and subscribe to our channel below. Okay, so number one on the list of 6 things they never told you about are, number 1, roads and sidewalks. Driving on the main roads in Puerto Vallarta for the most part are not a problem apart from the occasional and well-marked topes, which they mean speed bumps in the north of the border here. Anyway, driving on smaller roads and neighborhood streets can be a different story though. Most of them have the dreaded topes that you don't want to hit at 20 miles an hour, let me tell you. As many are not marked or easily visible, so you have to be pretty vigilant at all times. If you don't mess up your car shocks on the topes, there's also many potholes that love to test the sturdiness of your car's shocks and axles. As quaint as the cobblestone streets are in the neighborhoods around Puerto Vallarta, constantly bouncing around on them takes its toll on your car, and it's almost impossible in Puerto Vallarta to keep your car scratch or dent free. I've personally had a couple of run-ins with 2-foot-high sidewalks while turning a corner and heard that horrible crunching sound. Even though my wife would disagree, I'm not that bad of a driver. And believe me, this is likely to happen to most of you at some point. My advice is to forget your sedan and drive a car with a higher ground clearance, like maybe an SUV. Okay, let's talk about the sidewalks of Puerto Vallarta. And as in most of Mexico, the Puerto Vallarta sidewalks can be particularly dangerous. Many are uneven with sidewalk potholes and even open manholes. I've seen sidewalks up to 4 feet high with steps going up and steps going down. So you really have to be extra careful and watch every step you make as you walk down some of the streets here in Puerto Vallarta. I've taken a couple of tumbles myself, grazing my knees and elbows. The cobblestone streets can be hazardous to walk across too, and you have to watch out for head level obstacles while walking down the street, like protruding AC units and the like. So watch your step while you're out there and about walking around enjoying the sights. Okay, number 2, utilities. Unreliable power can be a thing, especially during the rainy season here in Puerto Vallarta. Electrical outages are common, and after the storms, power can be out sometimes for even days, and with no AC it can be pretty uncomfortable in the tropical heat. It's a challenge too during power outages to keep your food from going bad, not to mention keeping the cervezas cool. You may have seen the rat's nest of wires on top of the power poles here, and it's a common sight to see wires hanging to the ground. Almost most of these wires are benign, meaning they don't have any electricity in them, but it's a good idea to sidestep them just in case. Now, the internet too can sometimes be sketchy here in Puerto Vallarta. If you work remotely or have a small business that relies on the internet, it's advisable to have 2 internet carriers so you can switch if one goes down. The internet works well the majority of the time. Number 3, don't drink the water in Mexico. Now, how many times have you heard that from people? Foreigners moving to Mexico above all else fear Montezuma's revenge. And if you don't know what that is, message me and I'll tell you. Puerto Vallarta does pride itself on its clean water. In fact, it is safe to drink the water directly from the tap here. It's my preference though not to drink from the tap. So like many people, I only use tap water to brush my teeth, wash the dishes, and I order those large bottles, or garrafones as they're called here, from the store. And here's a tip for you: if you have a bad back, pay somebody to carry them to the house for you, because those suckers are heavy. Number 4, noise. Puerto Vallarta can be a noisy place, and it's not uncommon for Mexicans to have parties at their homes, blasting amplified band music into the early hours of the morning. You know, it's widely acceptable and locals rarely complain about it, and it's just part of the Mexican culture. If you live in a nice condo development like I do, you shouldn't have too much of a problem with that, with the noise, as most condo developments have rules that start quiet time around 10 p.m. at night. Although I did recently hear a party with band music coming from a nearby neighborhood that ended around 6 a.m. I heard it when I got up in the morning. Mexicans love firecrackers too, and you'll hear them go off at night, sometimes around the neighborhood, especially on festival occasions and holidays. They may not bother you too much, but your dog mightn't be too happy about it. Anyway, if you live anywhere in Puerto Vallarta, you're bound to hear the fireworks every night coming from the pirate ship out on the bay, usually around dinner time. Many areas of Mexico don't have zoning laws, so if your intention is to buy a house in the downtown area of Puerto Vallarta, it's possible you might end up with a nightclub across the street. So be very selective about the neighborhood that you buy in. Number 5. As the Rolling Stones song goes, you can't always get what you want. I know, I won't give up my day job. Well, anyway, that can be the case sometimes in Puerto Vallarta. One day you'll find your favorite food from home stocked on the shelf of the supermarket and then not see it again for 2 months. Same goes for items at the hardware store, Costco, and even Walmart. I recently wanted to purchase a dehumidifier, and not only did they not have it at Walmart, but they didn't even know what it was. Not an earth-shattering negative of Puerto Vallarta, and you can always order what you need on Amazon, and they do deliver in Mexico. And finally, number 6. I left this one to last because to some this can be the most annoying thing about living in Puerto Vallarta, or anywhere in Mexico for that matter. It's known as the Manaña mentality. Manaña is a very well-known Spanish word. Now, some say it truly sums up the laid-back Mexican culture. Nothing is too important that I can't wait until tomorrow. And others joke the word doesn't really mean tomorrow, it simply means not today. At some point of living in Puerto Vallarta, you will experience the mañana mentality. So picture yourself standing in your brand new empty condo. You've ordered some beautiful furniture for delivery, and they told you that it'll arrive Tuesday afternoon. So you're at your new condo on Tuesday afternoon, and at 5 p.m. you're still pacing the floor and wondering what's going on, even though you've called them and they assured you that you are on the schedule. By 8 p.m. you've given up, and after they tell you there's a delay and they can't deliver until Thursday now, you have to go book a room at the local hotel because you ain't sleeping at your condo tonight, or tomorrow night for that matter. Piss much? If you're ever invited to a Mexican party that starts at 5 p.m, show up at 7, you'll still be early. The mañana mentality can drive foreigners crazy because it's just not acceptable in our culture. What you have to remember here is that we are in Mexico, and your life would be a lot easier just to accept that this is a big part of the Mexican culture. I have a word for you: tranquilo. It's the word of the day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please comment below if you have any input or questions on today's video. If you'd like to have a copy of my digital buyer's guide to purchasing property in Mexico, please click on the link below this video and I'll email it to you right away. Whether you're thinking of moving to Puerto Vallarta in 9 days or 90 days or even 9 months, please call me or shoot me an email or a text so that I can help you make that smooth move to Puerto Vallarta. Until the next time, I'll show you around town.